Welcome back, gang. It's Deltia from DeltiasGaming.com here with a guide on the Molten Fortress, one of the hardest bosses and currently the last as of making this video for the First Descendant. In this guide, I'm going to walk you through mechanics, how to beat it, rewards, group composition, mods, and more. So stick with me. Timestamps are below if you wish to skip ahead. Leave me a comment if you want me to make more videos related to boss encounters. Let's get started. Its attack attribute is fire. So you can see it's very strong against fire, also strong against electric, weak against chill, and normal against toxic. It has a bunch of destructible parts and only 2 removable parts, which is the armor and the core. Very important for explaining the mechanics. Now, before you jump in preparing for the fight, couple things that will help you is having fire resistance on your external components, and fire resistance can be that third bonus on the specific part. So look to get fire resistance here. Also, the boss is weak to chill, so chill attack on your weapon is also very, very good. Couple of weapons I highly recommend to use in this fight is the Tamer. This is weak point damage. Also with a 100-round crit by default will be very helpful for some of the boss mechanics. Thunder Cage is also really helpful for taking out the ads and some other things I'm going to show you in a minute. And inside here, Chill Enhancement can be very, very effective against this boss. On your individual body parts, you can use fire resistance here or maximum fire resistance to help reach that 8,000 recommended, though I did not have any of that on there and still completed it, just depending on your build. Also, another one that's going to be very helpful if you can fit it on, depending on your module capacity, is HP Collector if you're killing the Roly-Poly ads, because you will take a lot of damage during this fight. So finding some way to sustain and heal yourself, very helpful. Okay, let's explain each mechanic in depth now. The room is set up in a circle. You're going to have essentially 6 pillars that shoot out of the ground shortly after the beginning of the fight, typically 1-2 minutes max. This is where you're going to have to spread out, take on 1 or more pillars, turn them, and deactivate the entire room so you can go back to fighting the boss. The most important thing for you to note here is that the boss will have the purple bar beneath the shield and its health bar. That will start to fill up as you do damage. I'm going to show you a little trick where you can bypass that a little bit to do even more damage to kind of cheese it so you only do the mechanic once, maybe twice. Next, you're going to have Roly-Polys. These are going to be small ads. I'm going to show you how to deal with them, but be aware they will try to stun, knock you back, and just harass you, and it's going to be super annoying. If that wasn't enough, you're going to have flame pillars that are going to be shooting out of the ground where you are standing. You're going to have to shoot the connection rods. And then while you're shooting the connection rods, you're going to have fireballs shooting out at the connection rods to reset the position. So the best overall strategy in general is to spread out, get a really good burn on the boss at the start, have someone grapple to a weak point before it's destroyed to show you this cheese mechanic that give you a little bit extra time. Once the boss goes in the immunity phase, you're going to spread out trying to take 1 or more pillars at the time, turning it into the position so it deactivates that immunity phase, getting back on top of the boss, rinse and repeat. So the opener is very critical. When I say opener, this means that 2 people should pair up in buddies and position around the boss. The biggest part on the opener that you have to understand to cheese this fight is there's those breakable parts. It's going to turn yellow, and that when it's yellow, someone can grapple to. Now, do not destroy it once it turns yellow. Move on to a different weak point and leave it yellow. As that purple bar fills up below the shields and health, once it's right a sliver away from filling up, that's when the boss is going to go into immune. So a mechanic that you can do is have 1 person, typically the lowest DPS, which should have been me, jump and grapple to this individual boss, and I'm showing you some footage of a different boss just to illustrate this point. You're going to grapple to this, and your lowest DPS character is going to maintain and hold the position on top of the boss. Do not strike it and try to destroy it. Your goal is to use your right click, but that holds you in the position. You're going to see a yellow bar build up and kind of go down over time. Re-engage that right click to hold on as long as you can. What this does is it prevents it from going in immunity phase while your other 3 highest damage dealers can just unload and do tons and tons of damage. This will get the health bar very, very low, so you only have to do the mechanic once, maybe twice, depending on your DPS. So have everyone in the group. We can 1 point to yellow, immediately move off of it to another point or another weak spot to do damage, and save that just when the purple bar is filling up. It's better to have any person go grapple this rather than none. And also the long distance maneuvering grapple is very helpful to get the most range out of your grappling hook as possible for this mechanic. So I'm using Ajax, that's typically my role. Now let's explain the connection rods, which is basically the cornerstone of this individual fight. So after a brief battle with the boss, 1 to 2 minutes depending, you're gonna have these rods that come up out of the ground. Now there are like little battery symbols on them. They're all essentially blue or turquoise, whatever color, I'm colorblind. And there's gonna be a panel right above it. So what's gonna happen is you're gonna turn the direction of the beam by shooting the panel at the top. We found it best to have everything pointed in the same direction, which is counterclockwise. So as you're looking at it, you want to turn it to the right. All of them have to face the same direction, right, or counterclockwise, in order to connect. If this wasn't enough, what's gonna be happening is you're gonna have stupid roly-polies jumping up on you, and you're also gonna have fireballs shooting up out of the boss in the center. I'm gonna tell you how to deal with both of those in a second. So your goal is to shoot that panel, wait 1 to 2, maybe 3 seconds, shoot it again, and keep looking up to see where it's pointed in position. It will be a light bluish color. Once it connects, it will turn that color bright, and that's when it's connected. Every single person gets connected, it deactivates. Your panels will reset if the fireballs shooting up from the boss in the center hit these positions. So you're constantly shooting the panel, making sure the fireballs don't hit your individual rod, and also dealing with the stupid roly-polies in the lava on the ground. So essentially hang 10 to 15 meters back, constantly strafe to deal with the lava, looking up in the air and shooting the fireballs when you can. Once you get one in position, you can do one of two things. Go on fireball duty for your teammates, take out some roly-polies, or go to the next tower and deal with it there. You'll have a bunch of fireballs that have to hit it to reset the position. So when you've done this repeatedly and you get really good, what you can do is almost just bypass the fireballs and the roly-polies and just shoot 3-4 times. The positions seem to be random, so one person might have to shoot it once, one person might have to shoot it 5 or 6 times. So that's where communication is critical and splitting up is critical when that goes in the immunity phase. For the roly-poly specifically, the best thing to do with them is not to kill them right on top of the boss. Hopefully I'm not showing you footage of me doing that, because I had to learn that the hard way. Because if you do that on top of the boss, it's going to sit down, spew out lava everywhere, then your DPS or other characters you're playing with can't get the bricks of health, MP, and ammo. So leave those roly-polies to come out to the edge and then deal with them. Typically you want your lowest DPS character, which is me, I know, low deeps, to deal with the roly-polies. So I use either Thunder Cage or Tamer for this fight. If I'm on roly-poly duty, Thunder Cage was really helpful. Fireball duty, Tamer was a bit easier. So kill the roly-polies, collect the resources, HP collector mod, very helpful if you're on roly-poly duty. Now the flame pillars are going to be shooting up out of the ground. This is kind of annoying depending on your build, but what I found best is kind of a semicircle, just moving in a semicircle because it's going to spawn at your feet. If you're stationary standing still, you are likely to take a ton of damage. You're also going to have a lot of situational awareness here. So being back from the pillars so you can see the fireballs, see the roly-polies, and also see the lava while you're constantly strafing is the best strategy to deal with this. Now the fireballs. The best strategy for dealing with the fireballs is to shoot them as soon as they spawn out the top of the boss. Especially if you have a Thunder Cage, it will blow up a couple of them. Also, Tamer is very helpful here. The reason why is you have a 100-round clip by default, and I have like 116 rounds depending on my mods that I'm using. So you can just sit down with the trigger, and even if you're not that accurate, you're going to take out a bunch of them. And you catch that spawn shooting out and just start preemptively shooting, you can prevent a ton of fireballs from your teammates of hitting the poles and resetting those things and dying in this phase. This will take you a couple times to get used to, so don't get frustrated if you die and wipe a few times learning this. And it only takes once to get it. Once you get it once, it's very easy to repeat and do it again. It seems frustrating at first. So you get the panels, you reset them, point them all to the right, counterclockwise, boom, it deactivates. Now from this position, you want to kind of remember where those weak points are so you can position right in front of the boss. One note on the boss, it has a little face. That face is a destructible part, but the issue with it is it will shoot out a big, huge, massive fire in melee range, so be careful. I don't think my Ajax shield would prevent the damage either, so it will nuke you down if you're facing it directly. So you're likely going to have to complete this panel phase twice in order to beat the boss, maybe 3 times depending on how much damage you have, but it's actually pretty easy once you get used to it. So for the group composition, here's what I use from my point of view. I'm playing Ultimate Ajax. Now I don't have HP Collector on just because I modded something and couldn't afford it. So I went max HP with Ajax with the long distance maneuvering mod. I would have HP collector in this spot here if I had some more module capacity, but I screwed up the module capacity and yeah, can't slot it. Now I have body enhancement rather than the buff one Transcendent mod that I used in my build video. The reason why is you're spread out and you really can't provide buffs, and you need this expulsion ability to take out the little critters, the roly-polies. So this just makes you very survivable. Scales your defense and your shield proportionate to your max HP. So then what you do is you use overwhelming HP to lower your shields to 1 and give you about 20,000 HP. And then you put on Iron Wheel. So when shields are at 0, which is going to be pretty much all the time, you're going to have a crazy amount of defense. Another thing I'd recommend is Stim Accelerant here. This is the most HP possible. So if you do this right, you'll have around 20,000 HP, extremely high defense. And if you can fit on HP collector in this spot here with one more module socket on Roly-Poly duty, you're going to be really, really survivable. The other 3 friends were playing Glay in a similar build, either Rocket Spam or Thunder Cage Spam. Here are their mods. We have links below on the website. You can check for individual builds, but these are the 2 most effective. Well, gang, that's a video on the boss guide. Was this helpful? Leave me a comment if it was. I'll do other bosses. I didn't see a whole lot of guides online on this specific one, so I figured I'd take a little bit of time to make a guide on it because I really didn't know what to do, nor did my team, but it was fun to play this and beat this. And it looks like the First Descendant's going to come out with other more challenging bosses in the future. And they're going to have an update, I think July 1st, and more to come. So we're going to have more complex bosses, most likely modeling something similar to Destiny 2 or Warframe. So if these help you, please leave me a comment, please like, subscribe, let me know what boss you struggle with or want to see next, and I will continue to make the guides. Thanks for watching.